Hello again, my good friends. I appreciate you stopping by for another video. So, I finished my Neja video, and I decided that I might as well do one on Revenant as well. He is a decent bit older, to say the least, and I'm even more behind when it comes to him, but I've played the Neja rework and Revenant a similar amount. So I feel like I'm still justified in calling this my first impressions. That, and I finally got a full build on Revenant just a little bit ago. So I've finally been able to actually play him to his full potential, which turned out was something I needed. Because before I got that full build on there, he did not feel very good at all, to say the least. But after getting the full build on there, playing him felt a lot more rewarding. So let's get into this. Although, in a similar vein to the Neja video, I'm going to attempt to keep this fairly short. We'll see how that goes. And I'm not going to try too hard to get this too refined or anything. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty details of how all his abilities work. I'm just going to kind of tell you how they feel to me in an overall sense. But let's stop delaying and let's just get into it. Overall, Revenant feels fine, I guess. He's not particularly amazing, but he's also not bad in any real sense. So he's just sort of in the middle of the road. All of his abilities do what they're supposed to do, and almost all of them are actually, fairly useful when used properly. I'll get into the one that I think isn't so great in a minute. But he just seems kind of weird to me. That, and he is significantly more rewarding to play in solo than he is in public. Because his first ability is almost completely negated by having any other players in the game. You don't even get a chance to build up your 7 thrall limit because as soon as you make some new ones, they just get blown up by your buddy's Tonko or Ogress or, whatever they happen to have. But in solo, his one actually is kind of fun to use because you have to manage your thralls in an interesting way because you can leave them alive to distract enemies, but you can also kill them off to create, the damaging pillars that kill off other enemies. And in this specific mission in the background, they actually did a really good job of keeping the enemies off of the Kuva siphon things. I really like the ability to choose between, having the distraction or having the damage. Now, the issue is, if I am not playing alone, I cannot choose. Because, like I said earlier, as soon as you make some, they just instantly die. I think really the only way to fix this would be to add some sort of mechanic that allows you to choose when and when your thralls do not take damage. But based on the current changes to Revenant that DE has made, that seems like it might not be the kind of direction they want to go with the ability, but honestly I think that's the only thing that can save it. At least in public play. Now, while we're on the topic of creating thralls, let's move on to his 2, which is, at least in my experience, his most consistently used ability. It does a pretty decent job of negating damage that he would take, although it's not perfect. And the interaction it has with Enthrall, his 1, is, pretty decent. I used both of them in conjunction consistently throughout this entire Kuva survival that you're watching. And unlike his 1, it actually retains all of its usefulness in public and in solo play. So that's good. And similarly to his 1, when I was leveling him and, my very first impressions of him, it seemed like it didn't really do much and the charges were so low that it was almost, pointless to keep it on. But after, getting a full build on him and dumping a ton of strength into it, it actually became very, very good, and it did a really good job of keeping enemies off of me, and then opening them up to becoming enthralled. So I think this one's pretty solid. However, his 3 is, well, I guess I'll put it this way. I don't really know why I should ever use it. I mean, besides the instances where you're using Danse Macabre and you need to move around a little bit extra because it's not the quickest, I don't really ever touch it at all. It's a little bit too slow, especially in the startup animation, to be used as a mobility tool. I guess it's decent as an escape because it makes you invincible, and the health stealing mechanic just, I don't really notice it ever. And there's potential to say that maybe it's just because I wasn't using it in the proper time, but it seemed like it did so little that I kind of forgot that it existed. I don't really know what I would do to this to make it better, but it definitely feels like it needs something more. But, you know what I don't think needs anything more? I think his 4 doesn't need anything else. Honestly, I think his 4 is the ability that probably needs the least. Yes, I said that his 2 was the one I used most consistently, and that's simply because I don't really like the playstyle of let me press 4 and then do spinny circles everywhere and literally everything dies, because it's not really that fun, specifically to me. However, that does not mean that it is a bad ability, because oh boy, it's pretty darn good if I'm allowed to say so. The only instances where I have not seen it just instantly melt everything is when there is an ancient healer nearby, and very briefly when there is a nullifier nearby, because it actually does a really good job of killing nullifiers even with their bubbles. So, you know, it's pretty solid. It's pretty good. I don't really think it needs anything. And honestly, at first, I thought the energy cost increase was a little bit much, but after playing it, even with, 100% efficiency, regular efficiency, I think it's okay, honestly. I'm probably in a minority here, but I really think that the killing power of the ability justifies the upgraded cost. So, where does that all leave us? I kind of already told you, really. It leaves us in this awkward place where half of his abilities are really good and fairly reliable, but then the other half are just kind of useless most of the time, and I don't really know when or where I'm supposed to use them. I don't think he's just outright bad, but he's definitely not outright good. So yeah, I really don't know. I'd like him to be, just that little bit better, but I'm not exactly sure what he needs to be that little bit better. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, maybe I'll come up with something in the future. Maybe DE will do something to fix him. But either way, that's about what I wanted to say, so I think I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. Like I said in the last video, I appreciate you taking your time to watch this video. And please, like I've said before, if you have any, comments, criticisms, ideas, anything to add, I would love to hear it, and please let me know. And that's where I'm going to end it. I will see you guys next time.